road against Georgia last weekend, and they've won 3 of their last 4. But this stretch for Texas is their toughest by far of the entire season. They're trying to postseason tournament. You get that top 16 national seed. A lot of that is based off of RPI. Their RPI has improved because of how they've played and a lot of ranked wins. A couple against Arizona last weekend, then of course that midweek win against Oklahoma, the #1 team in the country in Oklahoma City.
Citlali Gutierrez makes her first start since late March against this Oklahoma State lineup that has been so good
to her. So she'll vary her speeds between 59 and 67 miles an hour. That 67 will be her drop. That 59 will be her off-speed curve.
Carly Godwin, the starting second baseman this season, moved over to second base about midway through the year, had previously been an All-American first baseman.
There's that off-speed curveball thrown to Carly Godwin, who, as you mentioned, moved to second base and has faced Citlali Gutierrez. And Citlali, 19 innings pitched against Oklahoma State in her career, just over a 1 ERA, has only given up 3 runs. All 3 of those were earned. But when you look at what Citlali has been able to do against a very good Oklahoma State team that year in and year out is ranked in the top 10, top 15, a lot of success from Gutierrez, the senior. We talk a lot about Texas ace Tegan Cavan, the junior, not getting the start tonight. We see her a lot on the weekend, but choosing to go with Gutierrez because look at her success against Oklahoma State.
And she starts this outing in 2026 with 2 quick outs. Think back to last year's 1-0 Texas victory in Stillwater against this Oklahoma State team. It was Citlali Gutierrez who went 6 innings, Amanda, gave up no runs on just 4 hits. And a strike to Rosie Davis.
Well, and Citlali recently has been used a lot in relief, and she kind of goes back and forth. Sometimes they'll lean on her in relief, sometimes they'll lean on her in being a starter, but as you mentioned, hasn't started a game in a month.
Doesn't look any worse for the wearer. 1-2-3 start for the Texas.
Has been on fire. 172 innings pitched. That is 6th in the country in innings pitched. They lean on her a lot, and it seems like when Ruby pitches, they always have a chance to win.
Strike 1 to Caden Henry for a Texas team who, despite a little bit of a dip offensively in series losses to Alabama and OU, still a top 15 offense in the country in terms of batting average, OBP, slugging, and runs scored. A very dangerous Longhorns team, Amanda, that returns a large contingent from last year's national championship.
Well, just this blend of both speed and power that Texas has that makes them so dynamic. They can hit the long ball, but they have a player like Caden Henry, their leadoff hitter, who really embodies what their entire offense represents. She can hit a home run. She can put the ball on the ground and put pressure on a defense. I mean, this Texas lineup is a lot to deal with and very experienced.
Up the middle, and Henry extends her on-base streak to 9 games.
Ruby Meylan will throw with good velocity in the upper 60s, sometimes hitting 70, 71. Her go-to pitch that she has relied on the most is going to be her drop ball down in the zone, hard 70. And then an improved rise ball that you saw in those strikeouts against Oklahoma. An improved drop ball that she's locating on both sides of the plate, but also a changeup as well that's very effective.
Flared into right field. Off the bat of Katie Stewart, 1 down. You mentioned the month of April that she's had, which we will get into over the course of the show. It's coming off a March in which she led the nation in victories. This is a young lady that has become the Superman. In the words of her head coach, Kenny Gajewski, for the Cowgirls program, has really been the catalyst for the run that this team is on.
Absolutely, and you mentioned that March, that she was so successful. Her ERA and March was 1.45, and so far in April it's 2.76. However, she's going up against ranked opponent after ranked opponent with a lot of pressure put on her because of the rest of the staff is just not pitched the way that she's pitched against these ranked opponents, and she's had to take the load.
Strike one to Reese Atwood, last year's Johnny Bench Award winner and a fantastic home run hitter. This year, 15 home runs, top 10 in the SEC. The program's all-time leading home run hitter, both for a career and a single season. For now, her teammate Katie Stewart getting very close to that single season record. Two great friends and two phenomenal competitors. Atwood goes down on strike. Speaking of competitors.
Well, it's been all about pitch selection for Reese Atwood, is what Texas head coach Mike White has said. And chasing a rise ball here, that developed rise ball that worked so well for Ruby Meylan against Oklahoma last week. When you see chases like that, you know that that pitch is moving. That's what makes Ruby Meylan so good. She can have 10 to 12 inches of down break with her drop, and then 6 to 7 inches of up spin and up break with her rise.
2 down, 1 on for Vivi Martinez. You referenced that OU victory for Ruby Meylan. Making the play tonight, having won 4 straight Big 12 series, including a massive one against an Arizona team that has looked really good this year out west.
Yeah, been able to score a lot of runs, and I think the impressive part is just the fight that we've seen from Oklahoma State this past week. We saw when OU tried to answer back in Bedlam last week, and you saw some fight from them whenever Arizona scored some runs off of them, that they had the offense to be able to get back into the game. And so you have an opportunity here to play Texas and get another quad one big time win added to your resume for a team that just continues to creep up in RPI. When you look at RPI, Arizona is just right above them. So in a head-to-head, they would, of course, get the nod because they won that series against Arizona last weekend.
Part of what makes tonight so important for the Cowgirls in particular. 18th in the RPI. There's still a couple of series left in the Big 12, plus the Big 12 tournament. You get a win here on the road at a top 5 Texas team. What might that do for you come selection time when the committee's deciding who that 15th, 16th national seed's going to be and host a regional? That punches out Lexi McDonald. First strikeout of the night for Citlali Gutierrez.
That off-speed curveball, she can throw it a little bit backdoor too, and that's exactly what this is. Getting a little bit of help from Reese Atwood, who's back behind the plate. Remember, Reese Atwood has been a 4-year starter for Texas back behind the plate. So much experience. He talked about how she's a Johnny Bench Award winner. She has a great arm. She knows how to frame up pitches. I mean, not only is she going to go down as one of the best hitters to play at Texas, but she might go down as the best catcher overall player to ever play at Texas.
You pitched at a really high level in this game. What makes a great catcher in your mind as somebody who used to toe the rubber?
Getting balls called strikes for your pitcher. That will make any pitcher happy. And even a pitch like that for the McDonald strikeout, I mean, just Reese being able to frame up pitches a little bit. She stands at 6 foot, maybe just over 6 foot tall, so she has to make herself little back behind the plate to be able to have a smaller target for her pitcher to throw to and help the umpires see pitches.
0-2 to short, scooped by Martinez, 2 down. You referenced it too, she's been the primary starting catcher for 4 years, has rarely missed a game. Think about the durability of this young lady behind the plate.
Yeah, you can just tell that she's a catcher these pitchers love to throw to her, and Tegan Cavan, the Texas ace, are the best of friends, and you can tell that she just has a great relationship with this entire pitching staff and team. She's a leader for Texas.
Cavan looking on. Lali Gutierrez making her first start since late March. Started the last meeting against OSU a year ago, and it was actually Cavan who came in to get the save. Meanwhile, a 2-0 count with 2 down and the bases clear to Tia Warsop, initially from Northampton, England. Just went home for the funeral of her grandmother, who passed a few weeks ago. Got back to the States today between 2 and 3 p.m. Missed the team lunch, Amanda, and yet here she is in the starting lineup for the Cowgirls.
Can't imagine what her body and mind is feeling like and just how tired she is, but just an absolute competitor and wanting to be out here no matter what for her team. Even if she would have gotten here in the middle of the game, I think she would have wanted to be out there.
We asked Kenny Gajewski, your team is on quite the heater. What has been the catalyst for that? And he said that leadership is starting to be developed. And he named Tia Warsop as one of those players that has not only elevated her play, but has elevated the play of the rest of the team.
Just watching her hit this past week, she really stepped up and really probably more so known as a leadoff hitter and has the tools to be a leadoff hitter with a high on base percentage and speed, but she's really developed as a triple threat in the sense that she can lay down a bunt, which she won't now. There's 2 strikes, but can slap and then also swing away. We saw her have a couple of gap-to-gap doubles against OU in Bedlam.
Grounds in fair territory to Stewart. 6 up, 6 down for Lali Gutierrez. No score after home. And Amanda, that was the closest Oklahoma State has been to playing for a national title since all the way back in 1982 when they faced A&M in the AIAW National Championship.
Came so close. Haley Dulcini was on that Texas team. And just those semifinals are so intense because one team goes in undefeated at the World Series and one team goes in with a loss, and that team with the loss is trying to knock off that team and give the undefeated team its first loss. And then when you play that if necessary game, really anything can happen, and we'll see that again at the World Series, right? Like, this happens every year, and for Oklahoma State to be the team that lost twice was just devastating. And the complete opposite feeling for Texas on the other side, just relishing the fact that they had a chance to compete for a national championship.
Mike White and Kenny Gajewski, good friends, so much mutual respect. Mike White, though, showed a lot of respect to Ruby Meylan, Amanda, and what she's been doing, particularly over the last month of the year, going up, going down, changing speeds. He believes tonight will be a very tall task for yet again another top 15 offense.
Yeah, he told us, it's knowing that they're likely going to face Ruby Meylan tonight. She just keeps getting the ball against these ranked opponents. Kenny Gajewski just continues to give the ball to her. And Mike White said, it's just difficult to face somebody when they are dialed in like that. And the biggest thing he wanted to see from his offense tonight was jumping on her mistakes. He's like, even when a pitcher throws a perfect game, there are some mistakes that they leave out there, and it's going to be our job as an offense to find those mistakes and jump on them.
Hannah Wells, the reigning National Gatorade High School Player of the Year. 13 of her 24 hits this year have either been a double or a home run.
She had a big one against Oklahoma in that series here in Austin. Not last weekend, they played Georgia, but the weekend before that, playing Oklahoma, and in the final inning had a home run that led to the eventual walk-off home run hit by Katie Stewart in that same inning.
Seeing the ball so well right now at the plate. It's always interesting, too, for a freshman because sometimes in this league, as you well know, by the end of April and early May, there can be a big wall that a freshman hits. Feels like for Wells, it's been the opposite. However, Ruby Meylan has struck out 3 out of the last 4 batters she's faced, 2 away in the second.
This rise ball has just been on a different level recently. All 3 of her strikeouts tonight have been on the rise ball. She's able to throw it at the absolute perfect height with 2 strikes. Sometimes the pitcher might try to go for the strikeout and throw it too low, and then a bomb is hit off of that rise ball. Sometimes the pitcher might try to expand too much, and it's just a blatant ball well out of the zone. But the rise balls that she's throwing with 2 strikes are literally at the perfect height and getting Texas chases out of the zone.
Coming into the night off 3 complete game victories through 410 pitches, all against top 20 opponents. Kenny Gajewski joked with us this morning that after Ruby Meylan woke up, he asked her, "You feel like pitching tonight?" And she looked at him like he was crazy. "Are you serious?" "Of course I'm pitching tonight."
She wants the ball every day. I mean, there's no getting around it. And Kenny Gajewski is a type of coach. When you have that mentality as the ace, he's going to give it to you.
Going to be a tough play. Well defended by Aubrey Jones. Then a good stretch by Lexi McDonald. That is the 3rd out of the inning. Both pitchers buzzing through the first 2. Back in Austin, top 3, no score. Matt Schumacher, Amanda Scarborough with you. Citlali Gutierrez getting the start for Texas. Has looked very good. 6 up and 6 down. Takes on the bottom 3 in the Cowgirl order, starting with Audrey Schneidmiller. And Schneidmiller punches it into right field. First base knock of the night for OSU. And now Aubrey Jones will come to the plate. One of their highly talented young freshmen. Meanwhile, Kenny Gajewski will put in a pinch runner. Libby Jacques will run it first for Schneidmiller. This offense has been so opportunistic as of late. In fact, they've hit .394 in their last 3 victories. 2 of those against Arizona, and of course last week taking down #1 OU in their first win against the #1 ranked team since 2022. Jones, fair ball on the bunt, and Jacques safe at second base.
There's something that Coach Gajewski has really liked about his team is the way that they've been executing, just being able to advance runners. I mean, when we saw them in the Bedlam matchup against Oklahoma pitching, they were so tough with 2 strikes, and other hitters were coming up and looking for the first pitch. I mean, everybody, you could just tell, stuck with their game plan, invested in it, and they were just tough outs. But that execution was something that Coach Gajewski talked about after the game, something that he really felt like he had modeled after Patty Gasso in Oklahoma. And usually he was talking about Oklahoma's execution, but something that he really took a lot of pride in that win. That his team may have even did better than Oklahoma in that game.
J.L. Austin, one of 2 freshmen batting at the bottom of the order for the Cowgirls. Has really upped her average over the last couple of weeks of the season. Nicknamed Juice. Boy, Reese Atwood. Boy, if she had let that go, she might have had a shot at Jacques at second base.
Everybody oohs and ahs, and that pump fake to second base just got her. Look, slipping out on the dirt.
Good wanted her to throw it.
She wanted it. Senior to a senior there.
Good strikeout from Citlali Gutierrez, 2 down.
This is a big strikeout because now the top of the order is going to come up, and he'd much rather face them with 2 outs and a runner in scoring position. That off-speed curveball that Citlali Gutierrez likes to throw is going to get the strikeout. 2 strikeouts for the first time in the order for Citlali.
Strike 1 declares him. She is getting ahead in counts early and keeping this Oklahoma State offense off balance. Just one hit through the first 9 batters faced for Citlali Gutierrez.
Coach White has really liked her control. Felt like that's been really good as of late, facing all these ranked opponents. And Tegan Kavan has gotten a lot of pitching starts in time. But what Coach White said is he's really liked how the other pitchers have stepped up in those games, including Gutierrez.
Had such a big role in 2024. Was a first-team All-Big 12 pitcher. Multiple relief appearances in the Women's College World Series. Back-to-back strikeouts in the third. Pitching around a leadoff single by...
I don't get to see a ton, so I feel like they're a little bit hidden. But we talked about the OU offense and how many home runs that they've hit, currently sitting at 161 team home runs. Kendall Wells in the home run chase for a single-season Division I record as a freshman. But Jordan Woolery and Megan Grant are right there as well. Jordan Woolery has 30 home runs. Megan Grant has 31 home runs. Those two players alone on UCLA as seniors, 61 combined home runs. Just having monster senior years and definitely going to be candidates for National Player of the Year.
Oklahoma State has wins over 2 of those programs we just showed. Nebraska and UCLA.
Both these teams have taken on Nebraska, and that's why Nebraska has the strongest strength of schedule, because Rhonda Revelle, I mean, we saw Nebraska in the regional. They were on the road in Baton Rouge last season, ended up advancing to Supers, played Tennessee, but I think their goal this year was to host a regional and then also get a chance to host a Super too. With Jordy Fromm in the circle, formerly Jordy Ball, and a great freshman arm that they have as well, and Alexis Jensen.
They have never hosted a Super.
Big Ten could be making some noise this postseason. I'm so interested to see when the national seeds come out, how many Big Ten teams are regional hosts, how many have the opportunity, if they win regionals, to host Supers. I mean, I think that there potentially could be 3.
Meanwhile, the first 3-ball count of the night for Ruby Meylan against Texas's 8-hitter Alyssa Sneed, getting the start tonight in left field, which has been a position of variance this year for Mike White. First out of the inning. Well, our next NWSL match is Sunday, 6 Eastern. Angel City hosting Portland in LA. Also available on ESPN Deportes as well as the ESPN app. Portland featuring Sophia Wilson, always in the race for the Golden Boot, who in the offseason signed the first 7-figure contract in the history of the NWSL. It's interesting, Amanda, because you've talked to our crew coming into this midweek game that you feel like maybe more than any other recent season, the race for the national championship is wide open.
Yeah, I think we use the word parity, but I'm just going to use the word offensive explosion, and I think that that's a big reason for it. And we see some dominant pitching performances from, Ruby Meylan, from Tegan Kavan, from Carlin Pickens. You can name probably a handful of pitchers that can have that dominance, but overall, I mean, this year has been all about the offense, and I feel like when you leave it to a high-scoring game, it's anybody's ball game at that point. The game, so many 9-7 games, 15-12. North Carolina and South Carolina were playing today, and I think before we came on air, the score was like 14-14. I mean, when you're scoring that many runs, it's just all about who gets the bat last, and the offense is going to have the final say. But I do think there's just not a clear-cut favorite this year, and it makes for, it's April 22nd. Mayhem is around the corner. The selection show will be on May 10th, where we'll find out the 64 teams in the NCAA bracket and who grabbed a top 8 seed, who grabbed a top 16 seed, and where everybody's going to venture out to compete in the postseason.
2-2 to Maloney. Back on it at third is Davis. 2 gone. You mentioned the parity and some of the chaos at the top. We've had 4 different number 1 teams already this year. That's the most in nearly the last 25 years, Amanda. You and I just saw the number 1 team in the country lose last week to Oklahoma State.
Well, and number one teams have had a 24 combined losses before the month of May, which we're just not used to seeing. And OU in the ESPN poll is still going to be ranked number one this week, but Nebraska got some votes, Alabama got some votes. In the Softball America poll, Nebraska is actually ranked number one. So we're talking about the Big Ten and Nebraska and UCLA and Oregon and the strength of the Big Ten overall. I mean, that's a very competitive conference, and Nebraska is a true national championship contender.
Back to the top of the order here for Texas. 1-0 count to Caden Henry. Texas, of course, won the program's first national championship last year, overcoming Nyjah Kennedy and Texas Tech, but en route to doing so, beat the four-peat champs, OU.
What a run that they went on with Tegan Cavan in the Women's College World Series. She did not give up an earned run, was the most outstanding player. And just absolutely incredible. The way that the team came together, Mia Scott was tremendous in her Texas career in the World Series last year. I mean, in every postseason game, any game that mattered, Mia Scott was so good in that Texas uniform. But as every senior has to do at some point, you got to graduate. So no more Mia Scott this year. But they're in really good hands, especially with having Vivi Martinez back on the left side because she missed last season with a torn ACL.
Reese Atwood and Katie Stewart hoping they get a chance in this third inning. With two down and the bases clear, a 1-1 count to Caden Henry. Stewart and Atwood have combined for over half of the team's home runs and a third of the runs batted in. Henry has been a great table setter, but how about that pitch after the visit to the rubber by Carrie Everly?
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised to start seeing that change up a little bit more the second time through the order. First time through, she got several chases with her rise ball. Her drop ball was doing what it needed to do, throwing ground ball outs. But that changeup needs to be in the back of these Texas hitters' minds, and that changeup is a pitch that Ruby Meylan has worked very hard on to bring into her senior year and throw it double the amount that she has in any other year. 2 years at Washington, and then remember she transferred to Oklahoma State last season.
2-2. Henry, flare, left side, back on it, Jones, and in to make the catch, Warsaw. Ruby Meylan has set down 9 in a row since giving up a leadoff single to start the game. We'll talk to her head coach, Kenny G, when we come back.
Mentality, her emotional growth, her physical growth, and it's just fun to see her compete.
Second time through the order here for Oklahoma State against Sitlali Gutierrez, who too tonight has been very sharp. No 3-ball counts yet for Gutierrez. Godwin, slow chopper to short, and there is Vivi Martinez making the slick play on the run.
Yeah, with Sitlali Gutierrez in the circle, she has about a 60% ground ball rate, so her infield is going to be tested a lot, and I'm sure that she's so happy to have Vivi Martinez back at shortstop behind her as she missed last season in that national championship run. So smooth, throwing on the run. Vivi Martinez, that beautiful left-handed swing that she has in the box, and then the way that she plays shortstop. She's just a gem on defense.
And had a monster series against Georgia at the plate. 7 for 10, including a 4-for-4 night on Monday to help Texas take the series. And right on cue, makes an easy catch for the second out. This year's NFL Draft is in Pittsburgh. The Steelers have the #1 pick. And the 3-day event begins Thursday at 8 Eastern. ESPN will once again have every pick. Also available on NFL Network and, of course, ABC.
And when you think about this past week for Oklahoma State, we've talked about Ruby a ton and Tia Warsaw, but Lexi McDonald also comes to mind and how good that she's been since Kenny Gajewski put her back into that starting position for the Pokes. And she had some big hits last weekend. An Oklahoma girl. She grew up actually an Oklahoma fan, grew up in the state of Oklahoma, and then about 6th or 7th grade, she turned into an Oklahoma State fan, but just a major game that she had against Oklahoma in that midweek last week.
Showing more emotion this year than Kenny Gajewski has ever seen out of McDonald. In fact, this team made a big play in the field while she was at first base. She spiked the ball. It blew up on social media and became known as the Silo Spike for the Silo, Oklahoma native. And here she is extending the fourth with a 2-out base knock.
It was one of those situations, too, where she wasn't in the everyday lineup and went in and had a conversation with Kenny Gajewski, just showing that passion, that fight, that what do I have to do? And then somewhere along the way, a couple of games later, Coach Gajewski put her in the lineup, and she has not come out. She has been a hitting machine. She does everything, in his words, the cowgirl way. A great leader for this Oklahoma State team.
Oklahoma State is 8-2 since McDonald was reinstituted into the starting lineup. And now Amanda Hassler riding a 15-game on-base streak, trying to get something going here for the Cowgirls with 2 outs. Bouncing ball to second base. Easy flip to the bag, and that'll do it for the Pokes in the fourth. We will talk with Mike White of Texas when we return. She's allowed just 1 run in 13-plus innings coming into the night, and now scoreless through 4 tonight against OSU.
Yeah, she's done a really good job. Those 7 ground outs are a true sign that she's doing exactly what she needs to do, getting hitters out on their front foot with their off-speed curveball and her drop, and just feeding her infield a lot of ground balls. They're taking care of it.
One of the most dangerous sections of any lineup in the country. Due up here in the fourth for Texas, starting with Katie Stewart, who has looked like an all-world type of player in 2026.
Well, this is the type of matchup that you love to tune into any day of the week, but especially on a Wednesday night. Not as many games on Friday as Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but All-American versus All-American. Katie Stewart can hit the ball literally 300 feet. We've seen it time and time again at this field. A couple of fly outs that Ruby Meylan has won that battle against Katie Stewart. Some big outs with the home run power that she's had this season.
1 home run shy of tying Reese Atwood's single season record of 23 home runs. Passes the bat to Reese with 1 down in the fourth.
We love to see this matchup, whether it was in Big 12 play or now that Texas moved to the SEC. It's a non-conference game in April, but it just always feels like it's such a close game. Low-scoring game last year was just 1-0, but consistently not a lot of offense in these games. And, you know, it's particularly impressive when you look at how Oklahoma State pitching staff the past few years have been able to shut down Texas's offense. So this was when Reese was a freshman, was in 2023. So we'll say the now seniors, their record against OSU 5-2, but just batting .226 off of them. And that 1 home run was off the bat of Reese Atwood. But in all those games, I mean, Texas is known for its power. Oklahoma State limiting the home run damage to just that 1 Reese Atwood home run, which was a walk-off home run on this field.
Atwood has just the 2nd hit of the night against Meylan, and that breaks up a streak of 10 straight Longhorns retired for the All-American pitcher in the circle. Go-ahead run aboard here in the bottom of the fourth. Vivi Martinez looks at a strike.
I think that's what you get in these rivalry type feel matchups, and I think that Oklahoma State and Texas, it might not just scream rivalry right away, but it's become a rivalry, especially since Kenny Gajewski became the head coach of Oklahoma State and turned the program around, because the games are always so tightly played.
In the last 2 years, only 2 programs have shut out Texas. One of them is Oklahoma. The other is Oklahoma State. They did it twice, Amanda, in 2024. Of course, Oklahoma shut out Texas a couple of weeks ago in their 3-game SEC set right here in Austin. 0-2 to Vivi Martinez.
It's a good take by Martinez. When first time through the order would be Meylan, had 3 strikeouts and all 3 were on the rise ball, but just a really strong take by Martinez on that rise ball that as a pitcher, you see that. She didn't even really flinch at that rise ball. She's looking for something down.
Rolls it to second base and snared by Carly Godwin.
That's why that changeup is going to be so important. So you saw Martinez take that rise ball very confidently, so you know that she's looking for something down. And why Ruby is so different this year is because that down pitch isn't always going to be her drop ball like in years past at 70. That's what Martinez was geared up for. Instead, it was a changeup through the same tunnel, looked like it had the same trajectory coming out of her hand, gets her out in front for a 4-3 out.
First time tonight, Texas has had a runner in scoring position. And Leanne Good comes to the plate with 2 down. She has been as good as anyone with the bat in her hands this year for Texas. 5:28 with runners in scoring position. Mike White, Amanda, knowing how important this at bat is, sends Wallace in a pinch run.
Yeah, because of that number that you just said, with Leanne Good being so clutch with runners in scoring position, hitting over 500, and seeing that this is more of a pitcher's duel, low-scoring game, you have to know when you have a chance, an opportunity here, you have to take it.
Quickly 0-2. Meylan has gotten in front early and often tonight. They're now 1 strike away from yet again posting a 0 against Texas.
And Leanne Good's at bats have just been so good. You go back to the end of last year and their postseason run, especially at the Women's College World Series, she had some big-time ABs for Texas in that national championship winning.
Good, handcuffed to second base. Godwin makes the catch. No score after 4 in Austin.
Speed. I mean, she can ramp it up 68, 67 miles an hour, but that off-speed curveball is what has been getting Oklahoma State out and in front in her 3 strikeouts tonight.
Backhanded at second base. Good. Pops up and makes the throw to first. 1 down in.
So she takes 2 knuckles, puts it on the softball. And remember, I mean, we see this in baseball a lot, that there might be a knuckleball, but you just don't see it in softball as much because the softball is so much bigger than a baseball. So she's tall. You see those long legs. She has long fingers. She's able to put 1 or 2 knuckles down to be able to create that pitch. A pitch that she came into Texas as a freshman and had already.
Induces another weak out to Leanne Good, 2 away.
You see hitters way out in front of that, so when they're making contact, they're not being able to pick up what speed it is out of her hand. So they're way out in front of it, hit more off the end of their barrel. It creates lazy fly balls like that, easy outs for the Texas defense. Do you think you'd be able to do 2 knuckles down on the softball?
No.
It's, look, I'm 5'5", Sitlali is closer to 6 feet. Like, every pitcher is built so differently, and you just have to work with the tools that you were given, right? So for me, putting a knuckle down was not really an option, even 1, and she puts down 2. And with the windup that she has too, she has to hide that from Kenny Gajewski, from the Oklahoma State dugout. So with the windup, she gets the grip in her glove, and she's trying to hide that for as long as possible, curl her glove around her ball hand so they cannot pick it up until, well, really never.
And gets a strikeout on the outside corner. Just 6 pitches for Sitlali Gutierrez by one of his own in that Bedlam series. Had 9 strikeouts, held one of the best offenses in the country to just 2 earned runs.
So a complete game against Oklahoma's offense is not easy at all. And then you had to face Arizona's offense. You got to face them at home, but she threw 10 innings against Arizona on Friday after Wednesday, the complete 7-inning game against OU.
Not even 48 hours passed between taking down the #1 team in the country and then going 10 innings against the top 20 Arizona team.
It's kind of mind-boggling. She didn't get Big 12 Pitcher of the Week with the resume of that week that she had. Kenzie Brown of Arizona State got it, but I mean, I don't know how you don't give it to Ruby Meylan with the week that she had. It's unbelievable the way that she's throwing right now. And you hear Kenny Gajewski talk about it, the emotional growth, but also the physical growth and her tools. And she just takes care of her body. I mean, that's something he told us before the Clearwater tournament in February about how she's prioritizing sleep and her nutrition, even opting to prepare her own meals so she knows what's going into her body.
Kenny Gajewski told us she looks at every ingredient, is in bed by 8:30 p.m. He likes to communicate with his ace pitcher every day. Instead of calling her, though, he texts for fear that he might wake her out of a deep sleep.
And we all know that sleep is so important, especially when you're a high-level athlete.
Holding her position with a backhand, one down.
And she's going to be pitching a lot. I mean, I think that we're talking about this now on April 22nd, but what does this look like on May 22nd when it's regionals, potentially going into super regionals? I mean, everything that she puts into her body, every hour of sleep, every time that she says, hey, maybe I shouldn't throw an intense bullpen and communicate with her coaches, all of that is going to add up to her senior year in the month of May and trying to make it to the Women's College World Series. You know that that's Ruby Meylan's goal and Kenny Gajewski's goal.
Went 5 years in a row before missing out last year, falling in the Fayetteville Regional. You believe, I know, Amanda, that if Ruby Meylan is pitching the way that we've seen her pitch since late February, this team is a contender, not only to reach the Women's College.
Of JC Nichols, who goes to her slap and is just trying her best. What she's trying to do is not necessarily put the ball on the ground to Rosie Davis like you see a slapper put the ball on the ground and use her speed. She is trying to slap it past Rosie Davis. Instead, she slaps it right at her and right at her face, and she makes the out.
2 down, strike one to Alyssa Sneed.
You mentioned the 8:30 bedtime for Ruby Meylan. I've heard on some nights from Coach Gajewski, it's even 6 p.m.
Which he joked, how is that even possible?
And it wasn't even a joke because she knows that, like, no matter what, she's going to wake up at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
So in order to get the sleep that she needs, if she's a little bit short, she's got to go to sleep earlier, even opting out of some team activities like a wrestling match that was happening at Oklahoma State against, I think it was Iowa. No, she couldn't go to that. The entire team went. It was a big deal. She needed to go to make sure that, or she needed to stay home to make sure that she was going to get the sleep that she needed.
Of course, everything is tracked, sleep included, with the wearable on her wrist. And she told Kenny, Amanda, that in the midst of all of these high-leverage games, she has struggled to go to sleep at night. She's been so charged up. Tonight again, looking very sharp through 5.
Oftentimes, when you look at the RPI, whether it's the top 16 or top 20 in the RPI, usually your top 16 seeds are somewhere in that top 20 in RPI. It's not going to be exact. Just because Arkansas is one there doesn't mean they're going to be the overall one national seed if it were to end today. But you put yourself in a great position with an RPI of 1 or 2 or 3 to be a top 8 national seed, which would get you to host a regional and a super if you won your regional. Teams just outside of that: Arizona at 17, Oklahoma State at 18, Mississippi State 19, and Virginia Tech at 20.
And this is one of those games for Oklahoma State. I feel like we've been saying this for about a week and a half straight with the Pokes. But their RPI jumped 3 spots after wins against Arizona and Oklahoma over the last 7 days.
You just have to keep winning, and you hope that the teams above you maybe stumble a little bit and take some losses, and you just have to control what you can control, and that's winning. And right now, another game that is a major, or could be another major add to their resume against Texas here, is an opportunity for them to win in a scoreless game this late in it.
I mean, this is a team that has some major wins. We referenced UCLA, Texas A&M, Nebraska. Kenny Gajewski's group has slowly and rather quietly this year put together a really nice tournament resume. And of course, everyone wants to host at least a regional. History shows, Amanda, that your path to the Women's College World Series is made easier by hosting. But boy, if this is a 2 seed in someone else's regional, watch out.
And the Texas, on the other hand, is in such a good position to be able to also grab a top 8 national seed, which, again, it's just such a big deal to be able to host a regional. And if you get out of your regional that you host on your home field, to be able to host a super regional.
J.L. Austin goes down on strikes. Bit of the night for Gutierrez in what was the longest at bat of the night. 8-pitch battle, and Gutierrez has back-to-back Ks.
And first strikeout on something other than her off-speed curveball. That's her drop. Gets Austin well out of the strike zone and chasing that pitch. 5 strikeouts for Gutierrez tonight.
Again, making just her first start since March 25th against Texas State. And she only went 2 innings in that midweek battle.
Well, Texas is just so good at playing at home. You know, like, there's always a home field advantage, and some teams that just have some really crazy home records. Texas is tough to play, and I mean, even their super regional last year to make it to the World Series was against Clemson, and Clemson was 60 feet away from scoring a run that would have sent Texas home. They didn't score it. Texas came out, won that game, showed some fight, and then just did not look back in Oklahoma City.
Good pitch to hit there. Claire Tim going opposite field. Just the 3rd hit of the night for the Pokes, 1 on.
Gets herself in a hitter's count and sees this pitch up. One of the few mistakes that Gutierrez has made. Tim is looking for it, looking to hit as that leadoff hitter to be the spark for Oklahoma State to get somebody on and pass the bat to the top of the order.
First base runner aboard since the 4th. And now the middle of the order coming due for Oklahoma State with 1 down in the 6th.
When you think about what a big piece that Lali Gutierrez is for this Texas team, last year in their national championship run, they also had Mac Morgan and Gutierrez behind Tegan Cavan, who right now actually is warming up in the bullpen, likely to come into this game in the later innings if they need her to be ready. But with Gutierrez pitching like this, I mean, this just builds the confidence with Mike White in the arms behind Tegan Cavan, who he knows is the ace, but Gutierrez has just looked exceptional tonight.
Snap throw down to first. Reese Atwood has been known to do that a time or 2 in a game.
Just that no-look pick-off throw that we saw earlier this year. Just such a good arm, so much trust in her arm and in her infield. A very veteran-led Texas infield.
Bouncing ball is short. Martinez flips. Good to first. Not in time for the double play. Well, the first FA Cup semifinal match of the weekend can be seen Saturday on ESPN Plus as well as the ESPN app. Man City won it all in 2023. Southampton, however, has not been to the FA Cup championship since 2003. A spot in the title game on the line on Saturday. Mike, we have another challenge from Mike White. He has been unsuccessful earlier this evening with a call at first base. Talking with our home plate umpire, Dustin Douglas. And it appears as if nothing will come of that chit-chat. So 2 down, Godwin at first after the fielder's choice, and now Rosie Davis comes to the plate. Davis has been absolutely on fire. 8 hits over her last 4 games. Has tallied at least 1 hit in each of those 4. hitless tonight, however. Ball got away from Atwood, and smartly, Godwin moves into scoring position.
Well, every 60 feet in a game like this late in the game, is so important because it could be the winning run. Again, last year, the game in Stillwater, the final score was 1-0. The clutch hitter, the middle of the lineup for Oklahoma State up. Rosie Davis up at the plate now and has been so clutch in her career. I mean, ever since she was a freshman, starting as a freshman for Oklahoma State, when she came up, runner in scoring position, game on the line, tight game, it just seemed like time and time again she got that big hit.
Macy Graff will come into pinch run for Godwin. 1-1 count for Davis. Just the second time tonight the Pokes have had a runner in scoring position.
Rosie Davis actually has 2 late inning go-ahead home runs this season versus Arizona and Nebraska. That's why I think you're going to see a timeout here. Just everybody feeling, every fan, every broadcaster, every coach feeling the importance of this moment with Rosie Davis now in a hitter's count. Patty Ruth Taylor, the pitching coach for Texas, wants to make sure that everybody is on the same page about how they want to attack and get out of this hitter's count.
And how would you attack Davis here with a 2-1 count?
I would continue to lean on that off-speed curveball. Work it for a strike, throw it right at the knees, which Citlali Gutierrez has been doing so well tonight. Claire Tim found herself in a hitter's count, a 2-0 count that she got on with. And then now Rosie Davis, another hitter's count, which Gutierrez has not found herself in a lot in the circle.
Davis batting .360 this year with runners in scoring position. Batting in the 3-hole.
You asked, what would I throw? And it's this pitch, but it's not this location. I said at the knees, this is about belt high. It's left up in the zone. That pitch has to be more down. But look, props to Rosie Davis. Whether that pitch was up in the zone like it was or it's at the knees, she is on time with that. Squared it up, got Oklahoma State the lead off of Gutierrez, who was throwing an absolute gem. Rosie Davis, so clutch.
The timely and opportunistic hits have been a theme in these recent ranked wins for the Pokes. They've hit nearly 400 in their last 3 victories, all against top 20 teams.
We're just talking about it. Rosie Davis did it against Arizona. She did it against Nebraska, and now she does it against number 4 Texas. Arizona, Nebraska, and Texas. Those are big-time programs with national championship contending hopes. And Rosie Davis with a go-ahead home run for Oklahoma State in all 3 of those games.
2 down, 0-2 count to McDonald. And she goes down looking. So Gutierrez bounces back after giving up a 2-run homer for her 6th.
That her teammates, Ruby Meylan, they look at her like superwoman. They love her playing behind her, the way that she fights, the way that she competes, absolutely feeding off of her every second of every game, especially in this month of April.
Has given so much to this program since joining after transferring in from Washington last year. But particularly this season has been, frankly, in a league of her own. Leads Power 4 in innings pitched. And the last week has been one of the remarkable performances of the season by any pitcher in the country. Over 400 pitches in 2 wins against Arizona and 1 against Oklahoma. Tonight, she hasn't needed to go that deep into her bag. Uber efficient for the All-American.
5 consecutive complete games in a row. 15 of the 20 games that she's started this year, she's gone the distance and thrown a complete game. And what I've noticed too of her last 4 starts, how she's been attacking the zone. Her last 4 starts coming into this game, she only had 1 walk in each of those games.
Oklahoma State coming into the night against Texas has won 13 of the last 16 games. Meylan has pitched in all 13 of those victories. Ahead in the count here to Maloney, 1-2. Ashton Maloney, somebody that has hit in the leadoff spot before. Tonight, batting in the 9, has a real opportunity to turn the lineup over for the 3rd time through tonight against Ruby Meylan. 2-2. Double hopper to second. Godwin fields, one away. Meanwhile, back here in Austin, Caden Henry comes to the plate. First pitch swinging into left and caught by Tia Warsaw.
Kenny Askey had said in an interview earlier this week, I've been around great players in my time coaching this game, both in baseball and softball and just around winning programs. And he had said Ruby is at the top of that list of players that he's coached and been around in terms of preparation, recovery, eating, sleeping, making sure that she wants the ball, she wants to start. This is what she wants. When you think about what Ruby Meylan wanted out of her career, probably even when she was a freshman, you're seeing it this past week or 2 weeks, pitching like an All-American and pitching like she wants the ball and going at hitters like Katie Stewart that just hit that foul ball a long way off of her.
And a grin from Ruby Meylan. Stewart chasing her teammate Reese Atwood's single-season home run record. Down on the count 0-1.
She saw something in after a couple of fly balls toward the right side and getting out her first 2 at-bats against Ruby, saw something in and was just probably so excited to get her swing off, hit that ball a mile, just foul.
Stewart has reached base in 10 consecutive games. Tonight has twice flied out. One more homer would tie the school record set last year by Reese Atwood, who awaits on deck.
And just something that Katie Stewart has done much better this year is not chase as much, even holding back on that drop ball right there. Last year, she chased a drop ball about 30% of the time. This year, she's cut that pretty much in half, taking a pitch like that out of the zone that Ruby wants her to swing at to get this next pitch that's hopefully a little bit closer. Another good take. When you look at the difference between her chase rate, Katie Stewart, last year as a sophomore and this year, last year she chased a lot more.
Just the second 3-ball count of the night for Ruby Meylan. Seventh pitch of the at-bat coming, the longest at-bat for Texas tonight. Stewart trying to extend the inning in the 6th. Game-tying run awaiting on deck in the form of Reese Atwood.
He's been able to handle different pitches better this year, a more well-rounded hitter, has had a better game plan and sticking to that game plan when she gets in the box. The numbers that Katie Stewart is putting up this year are just unbelievable. And she already had a great freshman and sophomore year, but this year been on another level.
3-2. She has been their offensive leader in all the major categories and top 15 in the country in a host of those categories. 5th in the NCAA, however, right now with 22 home runs, a career high. Another payoff. Meylan wins this battle, closing the door on the Longhorns in the 6th.
Ruby Meylan, we have to jump on her mistakes. There have not been a lot of them, but Katie Stewart got one right there. Rosie Davis capitalized on the mistake from Gutierrez, and Katie Stewart did not.
Gutierrez back in the circle, despite the fact that we did see Texas ace Tegan Cavan warming in the bullpen last half inning before the Davis home run.
She's just been so good tonight, Matt, and it's just been about that one mistake to Rosie Davis on a 2-1 count, her off-speed curveball, and Rosie just looking for it. in that hitter's count, and it was a little bit elevated, and Davis made her pay. And this third time through the lineup, Oklahoma State hitters finding themselves in a lot of hitters' counts. In fact, Claire Tim had gotten on in that 6th inning with a 2-0 count and the 2-1 home run, and now another 2-1 here.
Oklahoma State coming off a victory against the #1 team in the country last week, defeating Oklahoma in the Bedlam game. First win against the #1 team since 2022. Followed that up just a couple of days later with a home series victory against Arizona. And Kenny Gajewski told us coming into tonight, we're playing with house money. If we win, fantastic, probably helps us with our RPI. If we lose, it doesn't hurt us at all. They played loose, Amanda, again tonight. Hassler to third. That is just left of the bag and foul.
It's a really freeing mentality to have, to think that way, playing on house money, nothing to lose, going up against the reigning national champs, and you're playing on the road. I mean, really, just the odds are against you, and you look at the ranking, you have the higher ranking, and maybe nobody, quote-unquote, expecting you to win. You just get to play free and play with the momentum that the Cowgirls have been playing with for a couple of weeks now. This is a well-struck ball as Hassler goes down to get it. Not an easy pitch to barrel up at all, but gets her barrel down to that pitch to just drive it to the left side. That ball was well-struck, tough to read for Snee, but you have to keep that in front of you if you're out in left field. Bit of a revolving door for Texas is that left field position, but able to turn that into a double because it got behind Snead on a poor decision.
They have had 3 different players starting in left field in recent weeks. Tonight, it's Snead. Meanwhile, Kaya Booker comes into pinch run for Hassler as Tia Warsop, the Pokes starting left fielder, takes ball 1. Kenny grinned today when he said, I don't know, people around the country probably don't think we have a chance again tonight, but I know we do, and so does our team, because we got Ruby Meylan in the circle. And hasn't there just been a little bit of a different aura about this team with Ruby in the circle recently? You mentioned it, Amanda. The team almost looks at her like Superwoman at this point because of what she's been able to do for them, really, since late February. Check swing, advances the runner to third, and now some insurance, just 60 feet away for the Pokes in the 7th.
Just some more good execution on behalf of Oklahoma State to put the ball on the ground and advance the runner an extra 60 feet. I mean, runner at third base, less than 2 outs. You just have so many more ways to try to score. And every run against a very good Texas offense heading into the bottom of the 7th, where they're going to show some fight, is going to matter in this game.
Longhorns will have 3, 4, and 5 due up in the bottom of the 7th. Atwood, Martinez, and Good. And boy, would they love to keep this a 2-run game. 0-1 to Schneidmiller. Kenny Gajewski has not been afraid this year to play small ball.
You know, it's shocking, too, to just see that Texas only has 2 hits on the board. Looking back just quickly at their games, they got 4 hit by Georgia last weekend, 4 hit by Texas State in midweek, but besides, this is the lowest number of hits that they've had all season if the game were to end right now. Still have a big opportunity in the bottom of the 7th. It just goes to show how well Ruby is throwing against this great offense.
Schneidmiller has already singled off Gutierrez tonight. The 2-2. Squares around a bunt, and it's foul. And she will head to the dugout with the 2nd out of the inning. Well, our next NWSL match is Sunday, 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific here on ESPN2. Angel City hosts Portland from BMO Stadium in LA. Also available on ESPN Deportes as well as the ESPN app.
That run is so big, and Kenny Gajewski calls the freshman of Aubrey Jones the most competitive person I've ever coached. Goes up swinging at one early in the count. This is what we saw Oklahoma State do against OU. Some hitters were going up looking early. Other hitters would get down with 2 strikes and absolutely battle. These at-bats that they have put together recently are just really, you're really starting to see an offense that's finding its stride and really at the right time.
They have hit .360 over the last 10 games, which has included 8 wins, 3 against top 20 opponents. They came into the night having won 4 straight Big 12 series, and they're averaging over 7 runs per game during this stretch. Clicking on all cylinders. 9-hitter J.L. Austin being pinch hit for here, with a runner in scoring position and 2 outs. Madison Hoffman with the bat.
It's been a tough week for Texas. They had the Saturday, Sunday, Monday series on the road in Athens against Georgia, and so they played late Monday night, got back at 2:30 a.m. Tuesday morning, and you have to have an off day each week. So yesterday was actually their off.
Her first home run of the year gives Oklahoma State a 5-0 lead in Austin.
This third time through the order, Oklahoma State has hit 2 home runs and scored 4 runs, hitting in all different counts. Again, Hoffman on time.
Final 2 outs. There is more postseason-esque softball coming your way Monday night over on SEC Network. These two played in an epic super regional back in 2024. In fact, game 2 went 14 innings. Bama, of course, upsetting Tennessee that year en route to a Women's College World Series appearance. A 1 to Vivi Martinez. Strike 2.
Just her pitch count staying so low. 84 pitches now that Ruby Meylan has thrown into the 7th inning. And another pitcher's count.
Five straight complete game victories. The last 3 against ranked opponents. Gets a ground ball to second base. Godwin fields and delivers to first. And now Ruby Meylan is 1 out away from another top 5 victory. And on Sunday, Amanda, before their decisive Game 3 against Arizona, she called Kenny Gajewski over after she had gotten done warming up and said, "Coach, I need you to stick with me today. I'm exhausted." Went out and gave up 4 runs in the first inning. Kenny Gajewski told her, "Don't worry, we've got your back." They came out and scored 4 runs to have her back. She only allowed 1 the rest of the game. She has pitched through mental fatigue, physical fatigue, in high leverage moments every night for the last week and a half, and frankly even longer than that if you take it all the way back to late February. How would you put into words what we're witnessing right now from Ruby Meylan?
I love the way that she's attacking and finding the corners with her drop ball, trusting the spin and location of her rise ball, but just attacking. She already had the mentality. Now she has that even better rise ball and great changeup to go along with it. I mean, Matt, when you look at her scorebook, a Texas runner has not even made it to third base in this game tonight.
A top 15 offense has been held at bay all night. Meylan's 1-2. Just 90 pitches tonight for the reigning All-American. In Austin.